What's up? It's Coach Edmund Battaglio, and today I'm going to talk about the landmine squat, how to properly set it up and how to properly execute it. Why I like this variation is just like any squatting pattern loaded up pretty well. It does translate to squat, jumping, sprinting, running, so it's really big on obviously translating to the sport-specific stuff. But this variation in itself is kind of a lower level variation. It teaches us to sit back a little bit more and use more of our posterior chain. It also is a little bit more anterior core involvement and really teaches us how to have a nicer upright torso because it's kind of self-limiting to how much you're able to fold over if you have any upper back deficiencies. So how I set this up is I have a 45-pound plate pressed against the wall, barbell's in one of the holes, and because there's not a lot of weight on here, I can start this exercise from the ground, right? Once we start loading it up a little bit more, we can actually have it propped up on a box. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this movement up. I'm gonna go ahead, chest up, when I go to grab it, good position. Stand up with it, make sure my fingers are interlocked, okay? Thumbs on the back end of the barbell. I'm gonna go ahead and press it against my sternum. That's gonna keep it locked in position. It's gonna keep my core turned on. I wanna get a slight lean. I wanna make sure my feet aren't too far behind me. From here, all I'm gonna do, go ahead and initiate the movement, sitting between my hips. All right, driving up, finishing tall at the top. Some of the big mistakes I see, or some of the big coaching cues I use, is if athletes get their elbows really, really wide, it's hard to kind of maintain that good tight position in my core, because when my elbows get wide, I have a tendency to want to fold over at the upper back. So I tell my athletes, tuck your elbows, keep them nice and tight underneath you, try and make a straight line, elbows right under the bar, sit nice and low, drive up, finish tall at the top. Another big thing that kind of athletes get away with is when I sit back. Now this is a great movement because it's self-limiting how much you round over, but as I get towards the back, if they're not angled properly, they will fall backwards. So it's very much of learning how to engage my posterior chain a little bit more. So if athletes have a tendency to want to fold back too much, I'll go ahead and tell them to screw their feet in the ground, right? Trying to turn their feet in the ground like screws. That'll help get some torque in my glutes. That'll help keep me tight. Some second thing is bracing the core. So when I tell them just overall stiffness, right? I say stiff like a statue. So that'll emphasize the rigidity that I need to have in my body, being braced. Screw my feet in the ground, elbows tight, control, sit down, drive up, finish through at the top of the glutes.